Why did you want to be a cosmonaut?
So, it's pretty simple answer. Because I want to get that place where nobody was before.
Why? What made you want to do that?
Do you know why Columbus went to the America? Do you know why?
Why?
Columbus. Why? Because people all time people are interested in something what's happened around, and I think that in all time people will look at stars even 2,000 years before they've done it, and they will do it in 1,000 years after our life, I think, because people are interested in world which is around us, of course, and if I know something about all some things which is around me, like here, it's very interesting for me to go, for example, in different city to see life there, maybe in different country, and of course to different planet.
I'd like to learn more about the man who thinks like that. Tell us about where you grew up. Tell me about your hometown and your childhood.
My hometown is Oryol city. Oryol in Russian language it's eagle. Maybe I can say Eagle City in English. And for me it's like a little sign, if I can say. It's a very nice, not big but nice city. There are a lot of history is connected with that city in Russia, and I love it very much.
What was it like growing up there? What was it like for you? What was your childhood like? Was it?
So, I would like to say that I had a typical, nothing special in my childhood. I was growing up, go to school, went to the aviation club, and prepare. I can say probably that it's not easy in life to see your goal and go straight to your goal, to a target. But I think that in my life, I do it pretty good, because I wanted to be a cosmonaut when I was a little boy, and I made all my steps on this way, one by one.
All with the intention of becoming a cosmonaut one day.
Yes, exactly.
Tell me about some of those steps from your hometown that led you to become a cosmonaut. What were the steps in your education and in your professional life in the Air Force?
So I wanted and decided to be a cosmonaut when I was a pretty little boy. When I started to create my own, with my friend, of course, our own spacecraft. Unfortunately, it was only on paper. When I was a 13 years old guy, I went to the aviation club. There I made parachute jumping. There I was flying on gliders. After school, I went to the high military pilot school, and when I graduated from it, I was a pilot instructor in the same military school. And after that, I became an ISSCAN.
You were selected to begin training to become a cosmonaut.
Yes.
That must have been a very exciting day for you to find that you had been selected.
For 100%, of course.
To fly in space, as you're preparing to do now, is to accept a job that has some unique risks to it. But since you're doing the job, I assume that you think that the risks is worth the reward. So tell me, Alexander, what is it that you think that we get, or what is it that we learn as a result of flying people in space that makes it worth that risk?
I'm very positive that we should do it, and I never have question, should we do it or not. I like this job, and I feel that this is my job. I'm happy that I could do it, and that I was selected for this job. What about purpose? One of the Russian scientists said long years ago that Earth is only it's place where human just born, and he was positive that we are going to the space, and we will live in in other worlds, in other different places, and the time will come in for this, I'm sure. That is why I think we should do this job.
You and your crewmates are next in line to launch to the International Space Station. So in a nutshell, Alexander, tell me about the goals of your mission and what your role on this crew is going to be.
So, I think you know that I will be a flight engineer of Soyuz and flight engineer of MKS in increment 35-36. It's about my role in a couple of words. What about our goal? In my opinion, our mission is just next little step on the way to the Moon, Mars, and I'm very happy to do this step.
Tell me what you are most looking forward to seeing at the International Space Station.
Probably how our Earth, the most interesting thing for me, it will be, of course, our planet and star. I think they look much better from orbit. And of course, at first minute, I looking forward to see faces of my friends there.
Your Soyuz flight to the station could be something brand new to the program. Management is discussing having your flight dock to the space station on the same day that you launch. What would be the advantages for you, for the crew members, for having launching and docking to the space station happen so close together?
So, as I already said, from my opinion, it's a really next step in exploration of space and in creating of spacecraft, because when you know that right now we have pretty lot spacecraft, and some of them we call the free flyers. But usually I can compare our spacecraft not with something like free flyers, but most like balloon, which is tethered to the MCC, because all decisions, all conclusions made by people on ground, and spacecraft on its own couldn't do almost anything. In our flight, our spacecraft will take decision how to make this way from Earth to the ISS, probably its own, and we will just control it and monitoring, and if everything will be right, it will do all this way, but by itself. It's in this case role of MCC a little bit less than in previous flights. That is why I think it's a really next step in developing of spacecraft, and it's really next step on the way to the moon or Mars.
I'm interested in the idea of having your Soyuz flight dock to the space station after just 4 orbits, I think it is. Is it an advantage for you, the crew members, to be able to dock to the space station only a few hours after you've launched instead of a few days?
From my opinion, of course, I have any experience of space flight before, and probably it would be better to answer on this question for example, for my commander who has such experience. But from my opinion, it's much better when we can do it almost on our own car. Just sit in spacecraft, fly, and reach station as soon as possible. From my opinion, it's much better. But of course, we should try, see how it will be, and only after that we will decide, is it better or not better.
Okay, let's talk about the destination. Help us understand the International Space Station that is in orbit right now. Tell me about what is there. What are the different modules and the different systems and equipment that are there to support the work of the crew and the science mission that you're on?
Oh, so Pat, I think you know that during the last few missions there was no changes and ISS construction, and I couldn't say that, oh, you know, there are a few new modules. It's still a really huge construction, and as my friends and colleagues say, sometimes you can work all day and didn't see anybody on this station because it's so huge. And I'm looking forward to try how it will be, and probably I think I couldn't imagine right now all details of this station. As you know, it's ISS include 2 segments, Russian segment, American segment, all European, Canadian, Japanese colleagues has their modules or parts which is included in US segment, and I think that US segment is like a two-third. Russian segment is like 1/3, and we are looking forward to for coming Russian one more a pretty big module, but it will happen only after our mission.
And amongst all of those modules, there are all the facilities that you need to do your work.
To see life there, maybe in different country, and of course to different planet.
I'd like to learn more about the man who thinks like that. Tell us about where you grew up. Tell me about your hometown and your childhood.
My hometown is Oryol city. Oryol in Russian language it's eagle. Maybe I can say Eagle City in English.
Why did you want to be a cosmonaut?
So, it's pretty simple answer. Because I want to get that place where nobody was before.
Why? What made you want to do that?
Do you know why Columbus went to the America? Do you know why?
Why?
For me, it's like a little sign, if I can say. It's a very nice, not big, but nice city. There are a lot of history is connected with that city in Russia, and I love it very much.
What was it like growing up there? What was it like for you? What was your childhood like? Was it?
So, Columbus. Why? Because people all time people are interested in something what's happened around, and it's. I think that in all time people will look at stars even 2,000 years before they've done it, and they will do it in 1,000 years after our life, I think, because people are interested in world which is around us, of course, and if I know something about all some things which is around me, like here, it's very interesting for me to go, for example, in different city